combos. But first, we'll go to Warlock. And Roger's going to be piloting that. Oh, I see a Void Lord and a Ziliax. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but it makes me feel like Cube Warlock of some capacity might be on the table here.
Could be Cube Lock, could just be like a mech control Warlock. You know, Ziliax is overall just a very powerful card in and of itself. I've actually seen a couple lists play it, but then just not have mech synergy. They just play it for the overall just raw body and stats that it provides. It's a very powerful card. We see from Alliestrasza's end, that's that Odd Paladin we were talking about with the mech synergy. That's a pretty powerful deck from what I've seen so far.
Even Shaman, Odd Paladin. Team America is taking no prisoners.
They wanted this one. Oh, is it what I think it is?
It might be. Blood Bloom has been a card that people have been exploring with the idea of combining with Cataclysm to do some really crazy and janky setups. Most notably with Mech-Cthulhu. You can discount the Mech-Cthulhu by using Galvanizer, which reduces the cost of effective.
It is!
Oh, Taiwan. I am so proud to be Taiwanese right now. I'm not joking, I am Taiwanese.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm American. I'm proud to be American. We're
I
on
didn't
the
know
scoreboard.
that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, that's just a really kind of unique and cool combo that you can do. And that's the way we've seen a lot of Mech-Cthulhu decks just across the board.
So janky.
So crazy.
The idea is you discount Mech-Cthulhu with Galvanizer. So you put it to 8, or maybe 9, because you have the coin. Then you draw your entire deck, play Blood Bloom and Cataclysm, destroy all your minions on the board, and destroy your entire, or discard your entire hand, which means Mech-Cthulhu effectively is satisfied. The only problem is you're going up against one of the fastest decks in the metagame.
Exactly.
However, Warlock is a deck well equipped to deal with it, with Defile, Hellfire, and many other removal tools, whichever they choose to put in their deck. The interesting thing is that with cards like Void Lord, it does end up leaving minions on the board because of the Death Rattle effect. So you do have to make sure that everything is dead before Mech-Cthulhu does.
Yeah, at least with Cataclysm, it kind of helps because it kills everything off at the same time. So it's not that much of an issue. The biggest issue that Roger's going to have is just, like you were saying, staying alive. You know, Warlock does have access to a lot of AoE, but eventually it's going to come down to the point where Roger just has an awkward hand that doesn't have the AoE, and he just has cards like Blood Bloom and Mech-Cthulhu and doesn't really do much. As I can see right now, I don't think he's running an AoE for quite some time.
Yeah, Lord Godfrey, one of the most powerful legendaries just in Hearthstone, period.
Yeah.
Just pretty much kills the entire board by dealing 2 damage to all minions and repeating it if it killed a minion. And then looking at the Odd Paladin side, this could be one of its toughest matchups. You know, they still don't know what kind of Warlock it is.
No, they've only seen, you know, just the powerful cards Warlock.
I don't think that changes their game plan necessarily, because against almost every Warlock, it's still fairly straightforward as the Odd Paladin, build a big board and try to pressure them out of the game. But one thing's for sure, with seeing Plated Beetle, they know it's some kind of slow variant. It's all about whether or not they can peg the Mech-Cthulhu, which, you know, I can't tell. Like you said, there are some control Warlocks out there that play Gnome Feratu and Rin the First Disciple, and they just play more removal tools with some of the expansion like Spirit Bomb. It's really interesting to see this Mech-Cthulhu list.
Yeah, there's also another card that's been finding its way into these Warlocks. I believe it's the Demonic Project. I was going to say Purge. I don't know why. Demonic Project. And the reason that's actually seeing play is because it's actually one of the ways to counter Mech-Cthulhu. You wait for your opponent when you know that they only have 1 to 2 cards left in their hand, or when they're trying to finally assemble that really awesome Mech-Cthulhu combo, and then you kind of just put a straight stop to it by turning Mech-Cthulhu into a Voidwalker, a Flame Imp, just any kind of demon.
Galen Adventure is fantastic board stall against Odd Paladin. Even though they go wide on the board, it should answer most of their hero powers. The only problem is the threat of things like level up. So this ends up potentially being a spot here. But they have a Defile and a Lord Godfrey to fall back on. So they're very confident that they can deal with any board state, regardless of how things shape up, pending on the trades on the board. Ooh, a loss in the jungle. So, you know, you kind of look at the Warlock, and it's very clear that they're stalling for time. You have a way to press in right now here, Dr. J, with loss in the jungle and level up. Is that too aggressive, you feel?
I think it's a bit too aggressive. I'm kind of looking at the raid leader right now. One thing that Paladin wants to aim to do is try and force out awkward turns from Warlock where they can't necessarily develop and clear. So they want them to clear and then pass. And then after that, you can kind of maybe equip a Vine Cleaver, get some hero powers going, get the Lost in the Jungle going, level it up. So right now, if you go ahead and commit to a level up and there's a board clear, you're almost out of your best resource right now. Whereas raid leader, it's not typically the strongest card in this matchup, so you can actually full clear with the raid leader and even push 3 from the quarter creeper if you choose to do so. So I would like to maybe see that consideration, but there's also Pongomancer, which is a very awkward card at times to get rid of from the Odd Paladin's hand. So this is a pretty powerful play as well.
And trade are trying to play around Defile. So that makes the most sense here. It seems like America is trying, there's the Cataclysm. America is trying to make it as awkward, like you said, for their opponents by putting as much pressure onto the board without extending into traditional removal tools.
Yeah, you have to find that balance of extending onto the board, but then making it threatening enough that it demands a removal. And I think this was one of those board states, but thankfully for Roger, he actually has access to that Possessed Lackey, which is just going to, I'm assuming, only pull out Void Lord. I don't know if there's any other demons in the list.
Yes.
But I would assume, just 2 Void Lords are probably the only demons that they have, just to kind of guarantee that Void Lord comes on as quickly as possible.
This is 14 damage coming on the other side. It's very scary.
It is, but you know what else is very scary? A Void Lord.
it is scary, but one of the things that I'm looking at is you won't have the health to cast Blood Bloom. Cataclysm if you're at less than 4.
That is true. I mean, maybe in Roger's mind he doesn't actually need that combo to kind of win this game, kind of just like clear off all the threats. But this is one of those versions of Warlock that you kind of look at it and you say, can you afford to just clear off everything? Eventually you're gonna have those awkward cards of Cataclysm, Blood Bloom, and Mechathune where you might just have to coin out a Mechathune just to push 10 damage face.
True. Mechathune is, a giant minion that might be difficult to deal with, so you might win just simply by attacking twice. Life tap, Vile. They are not afraid of, any Iron Beak Owl shenanigans. If you have it, you have it. They need to stick to their win condition.
It's very hard to fit niche cards like that in the deck list, like Iron Beak Owl, especially because you're so tight on the room. You have so many powerful cards, especially with even more powerful cards like Giggling Inventor.
And restrictions to at least include 8 booms.
Exactly.
Still, though, you can't always play around everything. So I definitely respect the play here from Taiwan. And, it's kind of like what you're saying, playing it slow. Ooh.
Oh, there's the Galvanizer.
They're pretty close. I mean, they still have the coin, so Galvanizer means that they effectively have every piece they need. With
the issue, though, is they have to get through their entire deck.
Yes. Oh,
and that's going to take quite a while.
And the life necessary.
Yeah, that as well. There's a lot of holes in this plan, but it's coming together.
Well, armor count does affect it, so for now, it looks like everything is okay-ish.
Just got to get through the rest of the 15 cards in deck.
Yeah. Defile also kills your own Void Lord in this spot, too, which is awkward to say the least.
Yeah, it's really hard to commit to any of these because you can't really play any of these AoEs because you clear off your own board and then the Vine Cleaver just kind of connects through. So it's very difficult to see what the play is here from Roger. Could opt to try and gain some healing with maybe one of these Spellstones. But if you do that, you really don't get that maximum value. And I do like the life taps. Keep trying to find, especially because you're virtually safe behind this wall unless there is some kind of silence or crazy trip return. So I definitely like the play here.
Yeah, the Stonehill Defender pickup was pretty clutch. Ooh, gets the Lich King as well, which could give some really important cards to either clear the board, because you're really happy to see Doom Pact. You're really happy to see Army of the Dead to just get through your deck faster. Even if they
Army
don't
of the Dead seems really powerful, especially when you can... Oh, I will say, though, actually, now that I think about it, Army of the Dead can be a liability, because what if you pull out the other Galvanizer?
You have coin.
What would Uther
That is true. What if you didn't have coin, Dan?
Well, then you wouldn't play Army of the Dead until you had it. But Doom Pact also very powerful too. Against Odd Paladin, you destroy like half your deck essentially because you kill off like 7 to 10 cards.
Yeah, the one time you're happy to mill cards from your deck.
Dude, I've seen people get so tunneled into the Mecha'thun win condition of having no cards in your deck that they play Keening Banshee, which is a 4 mana 5/5 that says anytime you play a card, you discard 3 cards from the top of your deck. And I'm like, why? Why? And they're like, well, you know, I have Mecha'thun in my hands. Like, okay. I'm like, well, what if you discard like your naturalizes and stuff? Like, you might just lose. You have no way to actually activate. They're like, it's all good, man.
You never get rid of those cards.
Like, all right, man,
you never burn the Shutterwalk off the top.
Look, those players that are doing it are better than me, so I don't trust them. And it is getting dicey in here. Yeah, let's bring in the big guns. Lord Godfrey.
You have to clear the board.
Oh yeah. Dual wielding.
Oh, that's just so risky. Because you clear the board, and then the most you can do is tempo out the Galvanizer, and then, you know, just you're dead to Leroy.
Dead to Leroy, you're dead to any like ways to add damage to a single charge or something like that. Well, you know, again, we don't know exactly what's going on. We just know the general themes. We wanted to, you know, be surprised with you guys. Oh, Baku is one of the weirdest and most awkward draws in this position. Because you know your opponent has so many removal tools, so Baku could just end up eating your entire turn when you'd rather go wide onto the board. And they do have Champion's Maul, which is a way to extend really fast. In fact, I feel like they can get almost a full board this turn.
What would Uther do?
Yeah, I think they go for that as well. I think dedicating the mana to Baku is just kind of, you know, whenever you play Baku in an odd deck, you kind of know you're losing at that point. Yes. So I think it's more important to go as wide as possible on the board, especially when you've seen Hellfire, Defile, Lord Godfrey. You've basically seen all of the removal at this point. There's just a couple more, and even if they Hellfire, I mean, they can't. They would die.
Oof. Ooh. Kind of talking about that exact thing, but you know, Roger and crew can gain a little bit of life here with the Kobold and the Spell Stones. Gain 5 each. It's not bad.
It's not bad, but it still feels so bad to play Spellstone on the. Now that's a draw.
Wow.
That's a draw.
The second for that, and that, my friends, is why we draw first. When you have the opportunity to give yourself the flexibility to adapt.
Always make sure to draw first, kids.
1 life. Was there any opportunity for them to squeeze out a little bit more damage? Yes, there was. They took some overtrades purposely to try to make it awkward. I mean, granted, maybe they wouldn't be able to get as much damage in if their board got cleared so easily, but it's just, you know, something to consider. 1 damage.
It's that fine balance of trying to find and squeeze out as much damage as possible. After games like this, you kind of sit there and you reflect and you say, where was that 1 damage? Where was that 2, that 3? Yeah. Just that little bit of damage that could have stepped it over the line.
Right. And then you start realizing it was everywhere. You're like, oh, God, I traded
It was
way
turn
too
1
much.
when I didn't swing with the dagger.
Yeah, it's like when you... Dude, I can't tell you how many... I've been playing a lot of Hunter, and Hunter, in my opinion, is a very underrated class as well right now, because I think just people haven't found the proper deck list to optimize their curve and power. But it's like, man, I just didn't swing with this extra candle shot charge, and they ended up overriding it later with like Eagle Horn Bow, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I missed that 1 damage because I didn't swing turn 1. I'm like, what is this?
What is life coming to? I mean, that's just what separates.
Oh, 2 Voidlords can come back now.
Can even opt just to trade off as efficiently as possible.
Yeah. In fact, he wants to take some bad trades like the 1/1s into the 2/2s just so that he can get more demons and get that life back too.
Roger just wants to snap play this as quickly as possible.
Right. They just want to, you know, I think maybe Shaq's like, hold on, let's think.
Yeah, well, everyone calm down.
But, you know, you don't want to overreact based on the top deck because sometimes you end up sabotaging yourself. But, you know, if I'm Roger, definitely... Oh, is he not going to give his board space for his 2 attacks? Or you know what? He just wants
I think he's just pushing the damage. Why not?
Yeah.
Probably sets up lethal. Should we get the Void Lords out?
Yeah, I was thinking about, like, you know, trying to... Oh, he gets double Void Lord.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, you know, you want to try to maximize your chances for the double Void Lord. Oh, Void Ripper picked up, and that's usually a great tool against some of these high health, low attack targets. But useless in this position, and Taiwan strikes back with their Mecha'thun Control Warlock. And hey, you know, another way to look at it is that it's Control Warlock without Rin Now imagine you take out Rin the First Disciple.